Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another BFM webinar. Apologies for the technicality there. Today, this is in collaboration with the Financial Planning Association of Malaysia, otherwise known as FPAM. And today we're talking about financial scams. They've escalated during the COVID-19 pandemic as the scammers have been preying on fear and confusion. So today we're going to explore how to spot scams, why people fall for them, and how to protect yourself and your loved ones. With me today to do this, Selina of Coreplus Advisory and Ling of VKA Wealth Planners. Moderating this with me, as always, Malek, founder of BFM and filife. Getting straight into it, we're going to talk about what is a scam, first and foremost, and why we fall into it. And Ling, you're going to help us out with that. Could you just break this down for us?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Roshan, for the questions. Okay, what is a scam? It is an intentional act of deception involving financial transaction for the purpose of personal gain. In short, they just want your money or personal information or both, right? Okay, why do we fall into it? Well, scams have been around for a long time, actually. But since the start of this pandemic, scams seems to have intensified, as you mentioned just now, and it became very creative. Sometimes it's rather quite difficult to spot it. Okay, this is because during when people are in the turbulent time like now, people are desperate for money. They are looking for other things. Okay, so this presents a very great opportunity for the syndicates and scammers to ply their trade. Now, one of the reasons that we actually can think of is with the current low interest rate environment, many people are looking for higher return. Okay, let's say since the beginning of this year, Bank Negara has reduced the OPR by 100 basis points, which means 1%. So assuming you have 1 million in the FD that you put in the FD last year, they're earning 3%. You get about 2,005 as a money spending part. Spending money. But with a 1% interest cut, your spending money actually reduced to 1,006, meaning that you had to actually spend less, 33% less of the expenses, right? So of course, this will naturally, people will just, okay, what else can I do and make my money works harder, right? So that's why that will present opportunity to the scammer, but you're not careful about it. Now, the other thing is that during the MCO, a lot of businesses are affected. Many people lost job, okay? So according to the Malaysian Economy Statistics Review for Q1 2020, number of unemployed people rose by 30,000. With our MCO extension to the June 9th, I assume this figure will be higher in the second quarter. So can you imagine if I were to lose a job today, obviously I'll be actively looking for a job, right? And if people ask me, say, oh, okay, I'm gonna offer you a job overseas paying a very high salary, I might be jumped into paying the fees to get the job. So in current time, that's why we actually fall into a scam when we are not careful about it. Is there anything Selina would like to add on?
Yeah, okay, thank you, Ling. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, first we must actually understand, how this scam works. Basically, for scams and for scam victimization, it's actually a two-way engagement. Okay, it involves two people between the scammer and the target of the scam. So especially during this CMCO period, we are actually seeing many people continuing to spend significant time on home-based activities. And this may often revolve around spending more time online, be it whether you're working from home or whether you're shopping for your groceries or even finding new ways because of the social distancing, you're finding new ways to connect with other people online, okay? And for many also, this time is a good opportunity for them just to, scroll on your social media, on your Facebook account, your Instagram and all this. So what happens is that with this new norm where people are actually starting to spend more time online, okay, we are actually seeing a marked increase, all right, in time spent online. Therefore, a higher chance for us to encounter scammers and engage with them, whether we are aware of it or we are not aware of it, but now there is a heightened level of engagement. So with this heightened level of engagement, so it now provides the scammers an avenue, okay, for them to ply their trade, So what they do is often scammers, they play with your emotions, your needs, and your fears. Okay, they are very quick to prey on your fear, all right? Okay, on your greed. In fact, on, you know, when you're panicky, okay, they do not give you time to think about what they are saying. So when, you know, when you are in that situation, okay, these victims, okay, they'll be more likely to make rash decisions. You know, sometimes you look back and you think, oh no, why was I so stupid? How did I fall for the scam? Okay, why did I give them my sensitive information? Okay, all this because of the social engineering that is going on behind it.
Right. So essentially, they play on your emotions, right? It can be fear, it can be confusion, it can be, as we mentioned, also greed, right? So you're ensuring that the let's call it the target doesn't get a chance to think about it, because the minute you start thinking about it, you start dissecting and unraveling it, and we all think we're that person, right? We all think that we won't get caught up in something like that. But this is really, it can hit anyone. I mean, typically when we think about someone who gets targeted from a scam, we're thinking either really old people or really young people, but there are plenty in between that fall for something like this, because they just prey on that fear, that confusion, that greed. If someone's offering you something capital guaranteed 20% or per year, I mean, you suddenly get a bit excited about it, and maybe you don't think about it too much. But you know, there are so many types of scams out there, Selina and Ling. I'm wondering if we can go through some of them just to get people familiar with I guess the names and the concepts of them. Could we, Selina, could you take us through some of them?
Yeah, surely. I mean, the list is endless. Scams have been around for a long, long time, okay? And yet people still fall for scams, you know, right? So, of course, during COVID-19, there are many COVID-19 specific scams that have been going around. Okay, we know as part of the effort to keep the economy afloat, the Malaysian government has come up with a series of economic stimulus package. All right, and basically these packages were, you know, for as relief for businesses, for households and individuals. Okay, and we have heard of, you know, in our previous talks as well, okay, policies including those moratoriums on your loan repayment, okay, your restructuring of credit card payments and so on. Now, how do people actually prey on you? How can this be a scam? Okay, in this scam, actually, this can be a scam. This happens, sorry, when people, okay, they are confused, number one, on how to apply for these reliefs, and also when those payments will arrive. Okay, and in combination with their desperation, you know, in this time, desperation for financial relief, it has actually made this a playground for scammers of all kinds. Okay, for example, all right, the bank stimulus package. Okay, I've actually encountered a case whereby the scammers, they impersonate bank staff. You know, they call up the bank client. All right, and if you know, if the bank client actually wants some evidence or proof of where they are from, they can even provide business cards. Okay, with the bank's logo. All right, and their name. You know, their credentials, everything. Okay, so when these scammers actually contact these potential clients, okay, and promising them financial health check, you know, let me check and see, you know, whether you qualify for this stimulus package or not, okay, and most of the time they will end up requesting you for upfront payment for moratorium program and even loan financing packages. Okay, if you want it, okay, put a down payment or some upfront payment, I will help you get the relief. Okay, on top of that, of course, scammers, they also request personal income document. Okay, so to apply for this loan or financing packages, okay, I'll send you a checklist. Okay, send me all your personal documents and we will proceed with the application. All right, please beware of this. This is going around, okay, especially for the bank stimulus package. And of course, we also know for individuals where we have the relief measures like the Bantuan Prihatin Nasional, the BPN, mostly for the M40 and B40 group. Okay, there are agents going around offering help to fill up forms, you know, requesting your personal information, your photostated IC. Okay, we will go and we will fill up the information for you, and we will, you know, get approval for you to get this particular relief. All right, and this scam has actually been around for some time. We are quite aware of it. And it was actually particularly prominent during the Bantuan Sara Hidup, the BSH days. Okay, there were many news reports whereby older generation where they were actually scammed, okay, by these agents. Of course, beware also at the moment, okay, Bank Negara Malaysia, even LHDN, the Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri, okay, they are fake BPN websites, Bantuan Prihatin Nasional websites, and even social media sites offering help to applicants to apply and check on the eligibility and also the status of their relief application. So please be careful of this type of scams, yeah? Besides that also, besides fake websites, agents, there are also fake text messages that's being sent out to personal phone numbers, from personal phone numbers to personal phone numbers that require the recipients to reply with their banking details. And often, all right, they will state in these SMSs that they send out, okay, from dubious personal phone numbers, stating that, if you actually send us your details, you will receive your relief payment within 24 hours. Okay, so again, they are playing with your emotions and your urgency. Oh, I want this financial relief. Okay, I'll just give them my IC number, or I'll give them my bank account number, and I will receive the payment within 24 hours. So that's how they actually play with your emotions. Okay, now besides that, we have also loan scams. Loan scams is where illegal money lenders cashing in on the situation. Illegal money lenders, okay, whereby they trick desperate individuals into paying in advance to get a loan. Never ever deal with any illegal money lenders for that matter. Okay, let me tell you, okay, you will lose your advance and you will never see them again. All right, and even if they do lend you the money, okay, you will have a terrible time dealing with them later on. Okay, never ever deal with illegal money lenders. Okay, now for COVID-19 scams, of course, we know we are spending more time at home and on social distancing. All right, many of us are also resorting to online purchasing. Scammers galore, plenty of scams online. All right, so I mean, those things that we have legitimate online sellers scammers pretending to be legitimate online sellers, right? Earlier on during the COVID-19 pandemic, on-demand items, I think everybody knows, face masks, hand sanitizers, they were flying off the shelf. We couldn't secure any. So we started looking online, okay? And of course, at one point, I also read about, in fact, I had an encounter whereby there were companies offering coronavirus test kits, okay? And even vaccines. I mean, it's ridiculous. They even do not exist. And these scammers can actually think of it, wanting to sell all these things. Okay, so of course, if the purchase is complete, all right, the seller will disappear with the money, okay, and your purchase item will never arrive. All right, so of course, another scenario is how to squeeze more money from you. What do? Okay, they will tell you the item that you have purchased that you really want, okay, is held up at the customs. Okay, and they need you to bank in more money to release the item. I mean, ultimately, we know what happens. You will still not get the item. It will not arrive. Okay. Besides that, of course, other scams that we have actually come across is sort of like you receive a phone call, the latest one, okay, whereby we will receive a phone call from an agent of a reputable online seller. Okay, so they will call you on your mobile phone saying that, I'm calling from this online seller. Okay, I have a package that I'll to deliver to you worth a few thousand ringgit, and it has been paid. Then you think, oh, I didn't put an order for this item, say 4,500 ringgit, and it has been duly paid. So you ask the caller, okay, I didn't order this item. How did you take the money out from my account? Then you are trapped. You are in the panic. When you panic, then you get trapped. Okay, you refuse to take delivery. Okay, the agent voluntarily offers to process the refund, but to complete the transaction, you have to provide them the tag number that is being sent to your phone. Okay, you see the scheme of things, how they plan things. All right. So that is for your COVID-19 scams, okay, which is the economic relief scheme as well as the online purchases. These are the two main ones that we encounter very often.
Yeah, I think recently, actually, I got a text message from a private cell phone number saying that I had spent 1,500 ringgit on Shopee, and I knew I didn't, right? But it's a private cell phone number. There are plenty of formatting issues with the text message and spelling errors. But you don't see these things immediately. I only see it later. But that initial reaction of panic, of like, huh? Did I spend this money? Like, when did this happen? And then there's a phone number right there for you to dial. And that's how they kind of get you in, right? But I think the first thing you got to do is take out that credit card that they claim that you spent on and call the number at the back of that card. Don't ever call a number that you've been given. And if you've just joined us, today we're exploring scams on this BFM webinar. Now, these webinars, of course, are brought to you in collaboration with the Financial Planning Association of Malaysia. And, as we've been talking about, financial scams have escalated during the COVID-19 period. But, this is not a new thing. And helping me out with this today, Selina of Coreplus Advisory, Shing, Ling of VKA Wealth Planners, and Malek Ali, founder of BFM and filife, who has something to say.
Just something from social media, I guess, from our Facebook page. I think there's a couple of things here about getting your mobile number not being sacrosanct, right? I mean, your mobile number is compromised. So Mastura says, someone called me saying I have an outstanding loan with IMB Bank. I don't even have accounts with the bank, but they have my handphone number. They even have my full name and even IC number, right? So I think basically what there is, I think we've got one point I just wanted to point out is that actually our mobile numbers have long been compromised. Just to let you know, there was a time, I think about 18 million mobile numbers have been on the, it was a problem that emanated from our regulator. Our regulator had a vendor that had insecure access. And basically it was stolen from the vendor or to our regulator. And basically our mobile numbers have now been circulated with probably our names and IC numbers associated with that. So just to let you know that Malaysian mobile numbers, for sure, have been, especially if you had it in the last 4 or 5 years, have been compromised. So people know you. I have actually seen people sending me, as a media company, people going and saying, look, I can get details of, give me a name and I can give you the IC number, I can give you their bank account and such, their bank account balance and such a date. That's crazy, but that has happened. I've given a list. We kept an eye on it, but we didn't track it. So just to let you know, there is basically, I think our basic fundamental privacy as far as the attached of mobile numbers, boom, that's gone. So you just have to be aware anyone can contact you. Remember, just before the elections, every time before the elections, someone always has your number, right? To tell you, please vote here, please vote there, that kind of thing. Yeah, they got it from that 18 million mobile numbers that we lost about 3-4 years ago.
So definitely the phone numbers, you get a lot of calls, you get text messages, and I think a lot of people wonder where these messages are coming from. Obviously they have robo dialers and all of that. But right now so far we've only explored the COVID-19 scams, but scams aren't new, right? They've been around, well, since forever, but the technological based scams have been around for a few years. Ling, could you take us through some of the non-COVID-19 scams, some of the big ones that maybe you've got a bit of insight there? Sorry, Ling, you're on mute.
Sorry. Okay, thanks for the questions. I believe that one of the biggest one that probably every one of us heard of is Macau scam. What it actually is really referring to the telecommunication fraud. Well, it started with, there are just few types of the operations. One of it is actually they will call you to say that, hey, Malek, you won 1 million prize winner for this contest. Okay, for you to click to get the prize, you need to pay certain amount of fees to get the prizes. Okay, the second one will be actually impersonating as a kidnappers. They will call up and say that, hey, your grandchild was kidnapped by me and you have to pay the ransom. Usually this one will call to those grandparents. A lot of grandparents fall into it because they get the call from the the scammers to say that your grandchild has been kidnapped. So of course, as a grandparents, they will kind of like panic and do whatever the scammer says. And usually they won't let you off from the phone. If they pick up on the handphone, they will not let you do not talk to anyone. Just go to the bank and make the transfer to this amount. This is actually part one of type of the Macau scam. The other thing is they also, what I've always received was actually a call from higher authorities. The one that I received was actually from the Post Malaysia to say that I have an IC was shipped from Sabah to KL and it was stopped by the custom. Then require and say, okay, can you, I will have to transfer you to Sabah police officer to talk to. I was thinking, okay, how did that possibly happen to me that, you know, I didn't realize it was a scam originally, actually. I was just going through the conversation with the person and then I was like, oops, I think it's a scam. So it actually paused you to, they said, okay, I'll connect you to Sabah. I keep asking for the Post Malaysia reference number. If you say I have some package from Sabah, I want to know the reference number. So I will call the Post Malaysia to verify. They keep delaying me. And then they say that, no, before I do that, yes, I definitely will give you, but you talk to the Sabah police officer. So they use a higher authority to actually talk to you, to make you make the decision on that. So that's a scam can be going on, and from the higher authority, it just scares you with the higher authority. You probably can get a call from like High Court. This is a recording from the High Court to say that you have a summon outstanding, you must come and settle and replay, settle it. So that is also quite going around a lot. And unfortunately, this kind of calls that will go to the main line whereby a lot of elderly at home will receive it. And sometimes elderly people like my mother-in-law will not understand that these are robocall. They will keep asking, saying that, why this person call me again? I told them I don't have any summon. She keeps insisting that I don't have any summon with the High Court. So that's the thing. And also they will actually legitimate caller ID display instead of the unknown number. Because if in a handphone, you will show unknown number. So we sometimes don't pick up the call on that. But on the main line, sometimes we don't have that. They will call it in, and sometimes they're using the number are very similar to especially the bank number. I also received some calls from that and said, okay, then I also realized, this number looks like a mainline number and it looks like a CIMB number. Then if you continue talking, then they will get you into their scam, the trap.
Yeah. So I guess one of those.
Other than what?
Oh, sorry, Ling.
Sorry, Roshan.
No, so I just wanted to highlight, so all those things, right? They prey on the fear of losing something or that you are in trouble, right? And I guess one of the ways to kind of break that is just to, whenever you get something like this, is just to, I know it sounds easier said than done, but it's to take a breath and say, give me a reference number, badge ID, something like that, and let me call the main office. And that's, I think you just got to repeat, because it's happened to me before. I've gotten calls like that before. And the initial surge of panic and fear is very, very strong. And sometimes suddenly they start asking you for things, and that's when you kind of back away. And you're like, okay, something's not right here. Can I get your name, reference number? I'll call back, or something like that. Or at least call the main number. It's always the way to, I think, one of the ways anyway. What else have you seen, Ling?
Well, I've seen also recently, I'm not sure anyone noticed that it's actually ASN in investment scheme per se. There's actually a lot outside. Recently, I read the newspaper, ASNB even issued announcements saying that scammers are using its name to dump the unsuspecting into depositing funds into bogus investment. It's in the newspaper, okay? So we also receive WhatsApps saying that there are few hotels in Malacca, Penang, for sale because of COVID-19. You see, so, and then generally, you just have to be careful. And in April, Securities Commission also issued warning about unauthorized digital asset exchange, meaning you're going to the platform to buy a Bitcoin, and that platform is illegal. So these are the things that are going around and in the market. Okay. Generally, just precautions when it comes to investment scheme is that if it's too good to be true, please believe that it is too good to be true. All right. And then sometimes, a lot of time, they public figures to endorse. Like, for example, we have seen like Tan Sri, Vincent Tan, Tan Sri Jetty, etc., etc. I just put their face there and say, okay, this person has actually implied endorsement. So just be careful of those things. Selina, you have something to add?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, that's true. I totally agree with you, Yiling, in this case, especially for this Macau scam and also for these investment scams. So what we actually need to be aware is that we actually have to, you know, stop and then we have to think, okay, and whether all these are actually, you know, whether it's logical, okay, that all this is happening. Okay, do not get emotional and fall into their trap. I think that's most important. Yeah, Roshan?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, Malek.
yeah, I have a question again on, I guess, on Facebook. Belinda here is asking, and this is interesting. This comes to your earlier point, Selina, about e-commerce, right? I mean, you said you were buying masks and so on. How do we, I guess, testify? Well, how do we make sure that sellers posting on Facebook are true sellers? Reviews and comments show many bought items, but these can be fake reviews too. How do we find out it's true, right? So I remember my situation. I remembered I wanted to buy some face masks for my friend in America. She's a nurse, she's a physiotherapist, and she did not have PPE. So, but I think I could get PPE. So I went around and I remember searching. I remember I was agonizing. Is this true or not true? Is it true or not true? I was paying 10 times the price for sure. I was willing to do that, but I wasn't sure, right? So in the end, I think it turned out to be true. The package came. I was relieved. I checked the package and all that. But I remember it was so hard. I was looking at reviews, looking at every single source, looking at every. But at the end of the day, it's still like, okay, it was still a leap in the dark. Is there anything else that we can do on top of that?
Yeah, actually, hi Belinda, thank you for your question. Okay, when we actually buy online, all right, it can actually be quite difficult for us to differentiate between the legitimate and the illegitimate sellers. Okay, true, you know, reviews and comments, okay, you know, they might have the reviews, they might have the comment, they even sometimes write up these reviews and comments on their own for themselves. Okay, how do we know whether it's true? Okay, echoing Yiling, okay, just beware. If your deal opportunity that you have that is presented in front of you is too good to be true, okay, please believe it to be so. Okay, for example, if you're shopping online, all right, and you're buying an expensive product, all right, that is perhaps a few $1,000s in the market, by offering it at a 50% discount, which is totally impossible. Okay, and you know, and they want you to buy it. Okay, would you buy that? Okay, or in fact, when you receive an invitation to invest at very attractive rates, no risk involved, okay, we guarantee you 8 to 10%, 12% return per year, okay, beware, okay. Now, and then another thing for online purchases is you have to be also very cautious about the mode of payment. How do you pay for that particular product? Now, please be cautious. If the online seller, okay, I mean, if you're on established platforms like Lazada or Shopee, okay, most of the time you're actually protected, right? Buy from Lazada and then, you know, or Shopee, you're protected through your credit card payments. But you must be very, very cautious if the seller requests for a money transfer, because legitimate sellers will accept more than one form of payment, and they certainly will not ask you to bank in cash, okay, or wire or TT the money to them. That is another thing that you need to look out for. All right. Of course, you need to check also on the reviews and the comments that were given. Okay. Sometimes, as I said, it can be created, it can be bogus. All right. So what you can do is just get the name, Google. Obviously, they have an offline store somewhere. Where is their store? Try to find out more about them. Okay, read about them, read about the business. Okay, and from there you'll be able to determine whether these people are real, whether they are using fake names, whether it's a real person. Okay, who is behind it? Who is selling you this product? It's very, very important. Okay, so that's my take, yeah, Malek, on this matter for online purchases.
Yeah, actually, I just want to bring up. So, very recently, or actually over the last year, there's been this this company called Escobar that was selling a high-end mobile phone, dual screen, all of that jazz for $350. This is an immediate red flag. So what they did was they got so much hype from people talking about it that people sent money ahead, and they only accepted Western Union transfers, Bitcoin, or something else. No credit card, no debit card, no other form of payment. And essentially what they do is they give out a few review units to some people to review, and then they put it up for order, people put in the money, and they never see the product again. Now, the best part about this company is it's continuing to do this because there are people who fall for that. If it's too good to be true, if a phone is a dual screen phone is going for $350. There is something not right about that. And if you've just joined us today on the BFM webinar, we are talking about scams, especially in light of the fact that they've risen during the COVID-19 pandemic. These webinars are in collaboration with the Financial Planning Association of Malaysia. And today helping me with this, Selina of Coreplus Advisory, Shing, Ling of BK Wealth Planners, and Malek Ali, BFM founder and founder of filife. And I am Roshan, Kanesan. And Malek Ali, you have a question.
Yes, I do. Yeah. Just again, relaying some of the Facebook comments. One of it is like, I think some of those is around investments. We spoke about investments in our webinar last week, 2 weeks ago. Here are some investment related. I guess people don't trust it. It's like it feels like a scam. There's with Jag, for example, a Jag runner. He says, there are lots of investment opportunities with a defined expiry date for purchase. Like, for example, there's this crisis trust offered by this firm that is registered with the Ministry of Finance. How do I do my due diligence and check if this is legitimate? Michael Lee, for example, also said there's an agar plantation investment thing. He believes it's a scam. But how do you check on these things? I actually have seen this agar tree thing under the auspices of the Singapore, an exhibition organized by the Singapore Stock Exchange, right? So you're like suddenly, oh, okay, this is really thing sponsored overall by a stock exchange. Then you have this agar wood plantation. I'm sure the stock exchange wouldn't allow them to be on there unless they are, they're legitimate or something like that. So there's this thing's going in your mind, right? Kind of thing. So how do you check on these things? Jag's example was this crisis trust, supposedly registered Ministry of Finance, and then some of these other things like agar tree, agar plantation investments and things like that. How do you check?
Yeah. Right. For this one, basically, if you do come across all these suspicious, suspicious investment schemes, or even if you receive phone calls or emails, all right, then whom you should contact, basically the relevant enforcement agencies. Okay, if it's a company that you would like to check on in Malaysia, go to CCM, the Companies Commission of Malaysia. If anything with regards to financial fraud, okay, the relevant agency would be Bank Negara Malaysia. All right, what about for online sales and purchase transactions? If there are any problems there, okay, go to the Ministry of Domestic Trade, Cooperatives and Consumerism, the KPD and KK, we call it in Malaysia, yeah. For investments, yes, we are very, very concerned about this. Two bodies that you should, or whereby you can check on the legitimacy of the investment product that's being offered to you, is the Securities Commission of Malaysia and also Bank Negara Malaysia. Now, Bank Negara Malaysia actually has a website, all right, a page where they call this a red flag page. They have a website with a list of red flags that you need to be aware of. So what you can do actually for those asking in about this investment scams and so on, all right, you can actually go to the Bank Negara Malaysia website, okay, have a look at the reports there, okay, and also on the news that is being put up on their website. They have actually, Bank Negara Malaysia have been trying to educate the public, on these financial scams. It's just a matter of whether we know whom they are, okay, what they are doing, and whether they are legitimate, okay? So please refer to all these relevant authorities if you're in any doubt.
I guess one of the important questions here would be spotting them, right? So one of them, of course, if you said that if something is too good to be true, capital guaranteed, that's all on the investment side. But what are some of the other red flags? Ling, could you take us through some of the things that you think are red flags that you should immediately be like, something's not right?
Usually look at, if it's regarding, I'm just going back to these questions about the investment. Usually I will look at how do they actually make the money? Whatever trust or whatever funds or whatever they're doing, I will ask, how do you make the money? Like, for example, Malek mentions about agar woods. Now, how do I participate? How do I make money? How do the company make money and pay me the returns? The consistent, they always say a capital guarantee, a guarantee you have a return of 8-10%. Well, do tell me any of the plantation agriculture are not subject to the weather, are not subject to other factors. So the factors are way too high to be consistently getting the return. then you have to question, is it real or not? So I usually use two things, which is a reasonable test. To test whether you say this is going to invest in this and doing this return for me. But I need to know where were you selling to, who you are the buyer, and what kind of profit margin. I will do this kind of due diligence before I say, okay, I'll buy into it, right? And then the other thing is that, of course, what Selina has mentioned, you check whether they're registered with the SC, whether there is registered with the authorities. I will also look at the information memorandum in some of the investment, because this kind of private investment, sometimes they have information memorandum. So you read it through, if you're comfortable with, then only you invest. It's our hard-earned money. You better be safe than sorry.
Yeah, Ling, it's also sometimes not just pure investments, right? A lot of times you get a call from someone you know, but you're not very close to, who's like, oh, I've got this thing that I've just joined, that if you come in and then you can make some money out of it. They play on that slight familiarity so that you're not so on guard, but at the same time that, oh, you can make money. So actually once I went for a meeting on this, and where they show you like, oh, this is what we do. They don't talk about the product at all. The product is on there, but they don't talk about it at all. They just talk about how much money you can make and how easy it is to make.
Yes.
Immediately you're like, something is not right here. So, you know, when they end the time limit, there's a time crunch. They're trying to push you into a decision. Oh, you got to make this decision now. You don't want to miss this opportunity of a lifetime. You know, all you got to do is get 5 people under you, and then they get 5 more people under you. Like, something's not right. Money is not that easy to make. If not, we all be rich. And then they want you to use payment methods that are not as trackable as something like a credit card or a debit card. It's like, these are some of the red flags that I personally experienced as well. And then you also get robocalls, right, Ling? Yeah. That's an immediate robocalls. That's an immediate red flag.
Yes, that's it. So because having a robocall, they will just tell you that you actually owe something, and there's an investment, or it can be anything. So they're getting very creative in terms of how they approach us. Actually, sometimes we cannot. The list is actually endless, really endless. We also scratch our head how to put all this in. Yeah, so we also get a lot of calls, like, for example, charity, especially at this kind of time. You know, they tell you charity, because of COVID-19, our sponsors are not coming back. So can you donate here 500, they have 600, you know, that kind of thing. They ask for charity. Then also, I'm sure there's an prince. They say that I actually a billion and I need some money to get me over for this period. I'll pay you back with certain good return, the kind of thing. Other things also, like, you know, love and scam, you know, love and romance. Sometimes I also amazed by the newspapers. It says that, you know, you transfer few 100,000 ringgit and over like 100 over transactions. I said, how to do this kind of thing over 100 over transactions? You know, wouldn't you raise your suspicions about things like that? They're repeatedly coming back for you the same amount and same reason. You're going to give me more money, give me more money. So there's also another type of threat, which I think everyone heard of. That is actually threat and extortion. I personally actually received that kind of email to say that my password and my user ID are being leaked. So you must pay me certain amount of Bitcoin by this time, or else I'm going to release your account to everyone else in the world. I say, okay, thank you very much.
So and you personally got that, Ling?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, especially those people who actually buy things. Even like my husband also got a few times of this kind of asking for Bitcoin. But we usually, what the trick is that you check that. Sometimes these passwords are the very simple password that you have. You probably go into some website that is not important. You give a very simple password. So you know, okay, maybe it's this website is leaked out the information. In fact, in US, I think a lot of people, what they did is that each website, they actually have a specific password they set. So if any point of time you got in this kind of call, they actually trace that which website was actually leaked out to the scammers.
All right, Malek, you wanted to point out something
Yeah, I guess the one area that I think we got to be very careful is things like our emails. If someone hacks into your email account and manage to get access, I think that will be a very dangerous thing. I'll give you an example. We had one senior manager at BFM. Someone hacked into his email account and then spoke to his stockbroker and gave instructions to his stockbroker to transfer all his money in his stockbroking account into a Philippines bank account, right? And the stockbroker did it because he saw basically they didn't do any phone confirmation, didn't do any other confirmation, just operated on the basis of email and did that transaction. So and then then there was all the rigmarole about how is it the stockbroker's responsibility or is it the responsibility of the person whose email got hacked, right? So I think we resolved that quite okay, but I guess it's just an unnecessary addition, unnecessary aggravation to your life. I think that you don't need. How about this? What about these things about, you say the way they ask for payment, this was Selina and Ling, when they ask for payment, you say, first actually you were saying that direct transfers from your bank account, big no-no, big red flag, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Right, next level. Next level, debit card. They ask you a debit. So do you have a choice of a credit card? They say you can take Visa, whatever it is, right? Yes or no? Do you use a credit card? Do you use a debit card? It doesn't matter.
I think if you, sorry.
Yeah, go on, Ling.
Okay, I think using a credit card will actually have a better security features. For example, if let's say for example the transaction originated from US and Citibank knows that I'm actually in Malaysia, so that side they already raise a red flag to them to confirm with me, hey, US now, why are you charging your card in Malaysia and also in US? So I think credit card company have their certain security features set already.
Yeah. And then I guess there's a
so and also that if you use by
sorry, Ling?
Yeah, sorry. Especially if your credit card and you can also go back to them to dispute it. Not purposely to dispute it, but just that, hey, doesn't look like my transaction. You can actually go back to them and say, hey, I don't think, can you verify? I'll pay a small fee. I think we are required to pay a small fee to dig out the information. Yep. But they will do it for you, okay? Trace it and tell you where you sign this check, where you charge this card, and if that is not what you are not the one who making the purchase, then they actually can refund to you.
I think one benefit I find of credit cards, and this is where I think we talk about financial planning. We talk about, hey, don't spend on your credit card. Just spend on your, just spend on cash. Use cash, or rather don't use borrowed money. But I think this is where I think an exception is things like this, right? Your credit card is useful, especially if you have your discipline. A credit card is useful for situations like this. I mean, I find it a lot more comforting using a credit card than a debit card that takes money directly from my bank account, because in law, I'm a lawyer. I used to be a lawyer. They call it possession is 9/10 of the law. That means if the money has gone from your bank account, to retrieve it back is so hard, But if money is still not yet charged to your bank account, like a credit card, it hasn't been charged to your bank account, you haven't paid it yet, then the onus is on you to report it, the bank to do this, but the onus is on the bank then to do their checks, as opposed to you scrambling, hey, I can't pay my rent this month because someone debited $4,500 from my bank account. So I guess that's the only, I think, saving grace or something like a credit card. Do you agree? Selina?
Yeah, that's right. I actually do agree in this case because true, we always propagate saying that we try to use cash to control our spending, right? Okay, using a credit card, sometimes we tend to overspend and things like that. But if you actually have good financial habits in hand, okay, the credit card usage of credit card, especially for online purchases, okay, this is actually an excellent fraud protection, system, because in any case, if you are actually paying by cash, you're wiring money, all right, it's unlikely that you could trace that money and you get it back if something went wrong, you see. So very important, when you pay for something, All right, think about how you pay. All right, and since some payments have almost zero fraud protection, avoid them. Okay, do not go over that side. Okay, use your credit card, but use your credit card wisely.
And on that note, if you've just joined us today on the BFM Personal Finance webinar, we're talking about scams. And right now, we're going to go into ways to protect ourselves. But these webinars are brought to you in collaboration with the Financial Planners Association of Malaysia, otherwise known as FPAM. And today, helping me out with this, we have Selina of Coreplus Advisory, Shing Ling of VK Wealth Planners, and Malek Ali, founder of BFM and filife. And I am Roshan, a producer of Ringgit and Sense. Right now, let's talk about how we can protect ourselves, ways we can, what we can do about this. Ling, could we start with you? What advice do you have for us on this?
Well, the first thing first, since we spend a lot of time online, especially during this COVID-19 issue, take preventive technology controls. Okay, get a better security software. They will help you a lot with him looking at all the unnecessary threats. Okay, you set all the software to update automatically, because most of the software, they will do a patches or updates to cover up some of the loopholes, or the scammer can hacker can hack into it. So they ask you to regularly update it. And also, if you buy the security software, it's no point if you have a security software have the 2 years ago virus list. And within the 2 years, the virus is actually added a lot more, then there's no point, you see? So you also have to update your virus list regularly, okay? Set it to automatic so that you don't have to worry about it, okay? And also, don't click on any attached email, because they might have the malware there. But with the malware, the security software should actually detect it and help you to separate it. So most of the security software should be able to do that for you. Then also, when you actually are required to do online transactions or online transfer, do a more complex password. Don't use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So, and then change it quite often, but you have to keep track of it, or else you forgot about it also. Okay. So, and then don't open the email from people that you don't know. People like to spam you, and sometimes it actually pass through the spam filter by those security software. But don't go and open it, especially don't click on those links. When you go to the link, that's it. They will actually activate something behind there that will actually come to and take away from what you in your system. Okay, and then practice good cyber hygiene. So you like what you said, Selina mentioned, we actually do a due diligence on the sellers, on providers. Of course, there are certain situations not so easy. Personally, I prefer to ask from the friends who have bought before. Let's say a Facebook supplier. Okay, have you bought this before? Yes, you refer to me, you bought before, you got the product. Okay, then good to go. Okay, at least it give me a chance to try it out, the new supplier. But if it's not, then I'll rather not to touch it. I'm maybe more conservative than a lot of people, okay? And I'm not a very IT person per se, okay? And of course, you also have to watch out. A lot of people like to use a brand impersonation. So they actually say, oh, this is a celebrity who is using this and it's good for it. Trust your instincts on this, that whether you really want to follow the celebrity for buying the products, or you actually want to do your own due diligence. Okay, and never put your financial information on social media. Don't put so much of information. I live here, my house number is here, my handphone number is this, and you know, you actually bound to be hacked, bound to be used by people. Okay, and only accept the invitation from people that you know.
Yeah,
like for example, you know, don't simply say, oh, okay, I want to add more friends. Why you want to have friends on internet? You know, face-to-face friends better, I think.
Yeah, one of the things we don't realize is that the information that is relevant to our security questions is very important, right? So that is one way that someone can reset your password. It's very, very important. Your security question answers should not be public in any domain. You cannot let anyone get through there. Yeah, and so that's on the technological side. There's a lot to pay attention there, but we've also got things like robocalls, all right. So Selina, do you have anything from your part?
That's right. Basically, you know, what I would say is that there are tons of possibilities when we actually come to robocalls or caller ID spoofing. Okay, so two possibilities. Number one is do not engage with the scammer totally. Okay, when you receive a call, okay, when the caller ID says, you know, spam call, okay, just, you know, hang up, don't answer. All right. So, but there is another possibility, but whereby you do engage with them. That means you actually pick up the call, but at some point during the call, you recognize that this is a deception, you know, there's a scam going on, and you perhaps, you know, you realize that you are being scammed. Okay, what you do is that, again, hang up, quickly hang up, do not engage with them. All right. Of course, besides that, besides robocalls, okay, just to share with you all, okay, some of our phones, actually, we have this caller ID and spam protection. Okay, check your phone. Okay, if you have it, turn it on. And in fact, for our parents or for elderly, what you can do is you can actually stop spam calls from ringing on their phone. Or in fact, if you want spam calls to stop ringing on your phone, okay, turn on the filter for suspected spam calls, and automatically when a spam call comes in, okay, the provider recognizes it as a spam call and it automatically cuts the line off. Okay, the call doesn't come through to you. All right. Besides that, now, what is important actually for us to protect ourselves from scam? What I always believe is the development of financial scam awareness. Okay, we have to educate ourselves. Okay, be aware of the latest scam, because research has actually shown that if you have prior knowledge of frauds and scams, if you're actually exposed, okay, if you have heard of it before somewhere, if you heard someone talking about it before, it actually decreases the chances of you being a victim. All right, scam tactics, they're becoming increasingly complex, okay? And you need to develop this higher financial scam awareness, all right, to actually protect you from all these scams. Knowledge is power, everybody knows. Equip yourself, protect yourself, okay, from all this. Okay, when you realize that you are engaged with the scammer, what do? Do not be, what do you call that? Don't feel frightened, okay, be vigilant. Okay, take your time to think. And a very wise strategy, okay, when you face such situations is to pause. Take your time, wait for a while. Okay, take a deep breath, all right? And think it over before you reveal any information. Okay, another way is to talk to other people. Do some research, all right, before you fall into the scam. Okay, if you develop good financial habits, all right, if you want to build your wealth, okay, you develop good financial habits, okay, you work with a licensed financial planner, you have a plan that will guide you in this, your financial journey. So you will not look at all these get rich quick schemes, you know, whereby it is just ways for you to lose your money quickly. All right. So do not fall for all these schemes. Take your time, be vigilant, okay, talk to people, okay, act rationally.
I think that talking to people is important, right? If you just take a breath and give someone a call and be like, hey, I just got this call, I don't know whether it's true or not. And you, when you start talking about it, you kind of start rationalizing and you realize that, no, that's not real, that I should not have done anything there. We're in the last 7 minutes here. Malek, yes.
So just rounding up the questions that were said a bit earlier, some of these questions a bit early. One theme also, there's a lot of, I think Ling mentioned this before about basically being offered jobs overseas, right? That is a big one. That's a big one. I think there are two examples that were listed by our listeners here. AI Chan says, scam to work overseas. Personally got someone to ask me to go to USA for gambling and free money and given to gamble, visa applied for and etiquette, accommodation. So that sounds a bit, that's one, and wow, you're a high roller type thing. Another one says, again, same, also got a fruit picking job in Australia, which is actually, I've heard of fruit picking jobs in Australia for students and so on, but you need to check you need to check the agent, which is true. Yeah. I mean, I think if you have children and they are offered jobs to work around vacation jobs in another country and they want to do that, gap year or whatever it is, I think you got to get them as well as us to double check the identity of the person hiring and so on. It's very easy to fall these things and put your kids in dangerous situations, right? So yeah, so I think that's one theme of jobs overseas. I think interestingly, we are the recipient of a lot of workers that come to Malaysia. Migrant workers that come to Malaysia get scammed by their country, by their country of origin. coming here, suddenly they have jobs, they have visas and everything, and then come here, no jobs. Then they have to become illegal workers, right? So I think lucky for us in a way that's less, but I guess for folks from migrant countries, it's a bigger issue. Yeah. So any parting words, I guess, from the both of you, Selina and Ling, about on scams?
Okay, maybe I start first. So what I would like to say is that be vigilant and alert all the time. Okay, never disclose any security details or personal information to anyone that you do not know. Okay, and don't assume everyone is as genuine as you. Always have skeptical a little bit. Okay, and don't get pushed and rush into making a decision. Oh, you must do this by this time and this time. Please, as what Selina said, take a step back. Okay, personally, I find discussing with someone is actually helpful to me. But in my case, I always talk to my husband for anything that I encountered, like what I mentioned about the extortion, the post Malaysia. I'll put on the phone and I talk to my husband. Hey, can you say this is a scam, Ling? Okay. So for me, I think my husband is the next best person who you want to pass through me and my husband before you get the money out from my pocket. That's right. Okay, Selina, to you.
That's right. Just some parting words actually. Scam targets everyone. Okay, no matter what your background is, what your age is, whether you're young, you're old, your educational level, your income level, okay, you are not spared. All of us may be vulnerable to a scam at some time in our life. Okay, and the thing is that scam, they succeed, to trick us because they really look like the real thing and it catches us off guard. When you don't expect it, then it happens, then you are scammed. Okay, scammers are getting very, very smart. They are taking advantage of new technology, new products, okay, services, and also a lot of events. They come up with unbelievable stories that will convince you to give them your money or personal details. All right, so scammers basically use emotional and psychological tactics. They are going into our emotions, into the way we think. It is basically like, a game of chess, It is very well planned, okay, and they will execute it using their criminal minds. And most of the time, they are 3 to 5 steps ahead of us. Okay, so always beware. Understand your risk factors, listen to your instincts, and always stay in control. Okay, that's all. And
Malek, what about you? What have you taken away from this session?
So the topic of this, I think one of the things that we try to hook people to say that scams you should warn your parents about, right? And I think we should all have a protocol with our parents, which says that dad, mom, if anyone tries to take money off you or whatever it is, call me first. Call me first, right? Call me. I will help you out, right? So, but just call me. Don't do anything and things. And also tell them about this kidnap scam, right? One day someone's going to call you and say, I'm kidnapped, or your grandchild here is being kidnapped. You call me first, right? Just establish a protocol where you can call each other and things before making anything. Because I think you're right. You're right. It applies to everyone, but there is a vulnerable group. Vulnerable group are people who are like, particularly when it comes to your grandchildren, your children, people are so emotional about that. They just panic and react. So that's my thing. Establish a protocol with your family members. So even your kid, especially for everything, like establish a protocol.
Yeah, essentially, you want to break that. So what I've basically gathered from this is that, and from own experiences, it all comes down to that fear or that greed or that opportunity, right? One of these few emotions, or confusion, and then they apply pressure through urgency, a timeline, something to stop you from thinking rationally by appealing to one of those emotions till they can get you to cough up the money in one way or another. And just having that break, or whether that you take a breather, talk to someone, that can make all the difference when it comes to this. And on that note, I hope everyone learned something very valuable today. And thank you so much to our panel. Selina, thank you. Shing, Ling, thank you for joining me today. Malek, thank you for co-moderating as usual. Next week, we'll be back here Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. on Facebook Live, and we'll be talking about managing job losses and or salary cuts, especially on the back of the pandemic. And Felix Neo of Fin Wealth Management will be here online with us, as well as Gunasilan Kanan of Blueprint Planning. And this Thursday, actually, our colleagues at Enterprise will be talking about opportunities in the post-COVID world. That's happening this Thursday at 1:30 p.m. on Facebook Live. And on that note, thank you everyone for joining me today. I'm Roshan, the producer and presenter for Ringgit and Sense. This BFM Personal Finance webinar was brought to you in collaboration with the Financial Planning Association of Malaysia. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Roshan. Thank you, Malek.